Imagine finding out your home, the one you've worked so hard for and saved up to buy, is now in the middle of the biggest mortgage crisis the United States has ever seen. This isn't just a made-up story, it's actually happening to millions of homeowners all over the country. Right now, the U.S. is facing a huge problem with mortgages. More than 1.2 million people can't pay their mortgages because interest rates have gone way up. The average interest rate on mortgages has jumped to over 6%, making monthly payments way too high for many families. The big change has shaken the dream of owning a home, causing a lot more people to face the possibility of losing their houses. But this crisis isn't just about the numbers, it's about the real families trying hard to keep their homes during tough times. Let's take a step back and see how we got to this scary point in history. Owning a home used to be a big goal for many people, part of the American dream. But now, that dream is slipping away from millions because they can't keep up with their mortgage payments. However, this crisis didn't just happen overnight. It's been building up because of dangerous lending practices and a really shaky economy that has left the housing market very unstable. As we look closer, we find stories of people chasing the dream of owning a home, sometimes without realizing the risks involved. This tough situation is not just about facing the same old problems, though. It's also a chance for us to think about how we can make things better. It's a time to look closely at how decisions made by governments, the way the housing market works, and our own choices have led us here. In facing these challenges, there's also an opportunity to make new plans for how people can own homes in a way that's fair, possible for everyone, and strong enough to last through tough economic times. Please take 2 seconds to help me out and hit the like and subscribe if you're enjoying the video so far. Each like and subscribe helps support this channel and keeps us motivated to keep making you great content. Thank you. Now, back to what I was saying. As we stand at this important moment, it's clear that we need to work together to find a way out of this crisis. It's a time for action, to come together and create a housing market that's ready for the future. We can keep the dream of owning a home alive, not just as something people used to hope for, but as a real possibility for everyone now and in the future. Right now, we're in the middle of a huge problem with home loans in the U.S. Interest rates are now very high, which means a lot of folks who dreamed of owning their own place can't afford it anymore. This is causing a lot of stress, not just because people might lose their homes, but also because it's making things uncertain for neighborhoods all around. In some areas, house prices are going down because too many houses are being taken back by the banks, foreclosures. You'd think this would make it easier for people to buy homes, but because borrowing money is so expensive, a lot of people can't take advantage of the lower prices. For those facing the scary thought of losing their home, it's a really tough time. It's not just about money, it's also really hard emotionally for families who might have to move and leave behind what they know. This crisis is making waves in other parts of our economy too. When people can't buy houses, construction workers and companies that make building materials feel the pinch because there's less demand for new homes. Retail stores and service businesses like restaurants and hair salons also struggle because people are spending less money on things they don't absolutely need. Even though this seems pretty bleak, there's also a silver lining. Tough times like these push companies to get creative and find new ways to do business. For example, real estate agents are doing virtual tours of homes so people can look at houses without having to go there in person. This kind of thinking outside the box shows that even when times are hard, people and businesses can adapt and find ways to keep going. The big mess with mortgages is a wake-up call for us to look at and fix some of the big problems that make this crisis happen in the first place. It's also a chance for us to think about how we can do things better in the future, making sure more people can own homes without risking a crisis like this again. As things started getting really bad, the U.S. government stepped in with some emergency plans to help people keep their homes. One big move they made was to stop mortgage payments for a while for people who just couldn't afford to pay because of the crisis. This was a huge deal because it meant that even though times were tough, people wouldn't lose their homes right away. It gave everyone a bit of breathing room and kept that dream of owning a home alive for millions. But it wasn't just the government trying to fix things. Big banks and mortgage lenders saw how serious the problem was and started to change how they do things too. They began offering people the chance to change their loan terms, get lower interest rates, or change how they pay back their loans. These changes were like a lifeline thrown to homeowners who were drowning in payments they couldn't afford anymore. These steps by banks and the government were really about bringing some light into a pretty dark time. It showed that even in the middle of a crisis, there are ways to help and make things better. It was a big reminder that our financial system can be flexible and strong, ready to support people when they need it the most. But we're not out of the woods yet. The government and banks are still working on new ways to help and to make sure that the future is brighter for everyone who wants to own a home. They're thinking about more than just the short-term fixes. They're looking at how to make the whole system more stable and secure in the long run. This means coming up with new rules and programs that could help prevent a crisis like this from happening again. So, while the mortgage crisis has been really hard for a lot of people, it's also been a time when we've seen what's possible when everyone works together to solve big problems. It's a reminder that even in tough times, there's always a way forward, and that with some creativity and cooperation, we can find solutions that help everyone. This crisis, where over 1.2 million homeowners are scrambling to make their mortgage payments, is sounding alarms reminiscent of the 2008 financial crisis. That crisis, triggered by similar issues of defaults and foreclosures, caused worldwide economic turmoil. The scary part? Today's average mortgage interest rate hovers around 6%, just like in 2008, signaling that we might be on the edge of an even larger problem that could hit our economy hard. What sets today's crisis apart from 2008 is how it's unfolding. Instead of a sudden crash, we're seeing a gradual slide, a slow burn into financial distress. This slow-motion crisis highlights a concerning trend. Owning a home is slipping out of reach for many, turning what was once a cornerstone of the American dream into a far-off fantasy. The situation is a loud wake-up call, urging us to pay attention to the economic cycles and the deep impact of our financial choices, both at a personal level and in the halls of government policy. Looking back to learn from our past, we see that overcoming this challenge will take more than just grit. It demands a complete rethink of our approach to housing and financial health in the country. As we stare down the barrel of long-term consequences with interest rates stuck at above 6%, the immediate fallout is painfully clear. Families everywhere are tightening their belts as the fear of losing their homes becomes a daily reality. But what's really worrying economists is what lies ahead. They predict that the repercussions of this crisis could fundamentally change how the housing market operates, influence how we invest, and even alter how confident people feel about the future of the economy. Imagine a future where getting a loan for a home becomes even harder, where owning a home is no longer a goal most people can achieve. This could lead to slower economic growth since people will have less money to spend, and small businesses could struggle even more to get off the ground. On top of that, the uncertainty of today's housing market might make the next generation of homeowners think twice, opting for safer, more predictable financial paths. However, every cloud has a silver lining. This crisis also opens the door for meaningful change. It's a chance to bring in new policies, innovate in the space of affordable housing, and make sure a crisis like this doesn't happen again. Now, at this critical juncture, the real question is how we can use the lessons from this crisis not just to navigate the current storm, but to spark long-lasting, positive transformations in how we think about and manage homeownership and financial stability for all. The need for strategic financial planning has never been more crucial. Homeowners might need to rethink their budgets, explore options like refinancing, or switch to fixed-rate mortgages to ensure their payments become more manageable. It's akin to securing a life raft amid a storm, ensuring that despite the tumultuous seas, there's a plan in place to keep afloat. On the flip side, for those eyeing the market for investment opportunities, the current situation, while daunting, is not without potential. The key lies in diversification and diligent research. By spreading investments across a variety of assets, investors can create a buffer against the market's volatility. Real estate investment trusts and rental properties, for instance, can offer consistent returns even when the broader market is in flux. This period, challenging as it may be, underscores the age-old wisdom that knowledge is power. Both homeowners and investors must adopt a proactive stance, stay abreast of market trends and policy shifts, and be ready to adapt their strategies in response to the changing tide. Yet, as we delve deeper into the crisis's impact, we encounter stark realities that underscore its severity. Approximately 30% of homeowners have seen their property values waver, predominantly downwards as the lending landscape tightens, pushing the dream of homeownership further out of reach for many. Recent reports have highlighted a significant downturn, with a 15% drop in applications from first-time homebuyers compared to last year. This trend marks not just a momentary crisis, but a pivotal juncture in the narrative of American homeownership. Despite the challenges, there's a glimmer of hope on the horizon. The crisis has sparked a wave of innovation in housing solutions and financial products, potentially reshaping the future of homeownership. Concepts like community land trusts and co-housing are gaining momentum, offering a glimpse into a future where homeownership is both accessible and sustainable. Moreover, the advent of flexible mortgage products tailored to withstand economic fluctuations suggests a shift towards a more resilient financial landscape. This evolving scenario isn't merely speculative, it's a clarion call to action for policymakers, financial institutions, and communities to come together in reimagining the pathway to homeownership. The crisis, for all its disruptions, presents a unique opportunity to fortify the housing market, making it more inclusive and robust. As we stand at this crossroads, the path forward is fraught with uncertainties, yet brimming with potential. By comprehensively understanding the current landscape, remaining vigilant about new developments, and welcoming innovative approaches to housing and finance, we can collectively contribute to shaping a brighter future for housing in America. This journey through the storm isn't just about survival. It's about emerging on the other side with a stronger, more adaptable system that can weather any storm. Let's not merely endure this crisis. Let's use it as a springboard to a more stable and promising future in homeownership. As we stand at this pivotal moment, the future of homeownership and the broader landscape of the American housing market hangs in the balance. The decisions made now by individuals and policymakers alike will chart the course for years to come. But amidst this uncertainty lies a powerful opportunity, an opportunity for everyone to play a role in shaping a more stable, equitable future. What can you as an individual do in the face of such a monumental challenge? The first step is to stay informed. In an era where information is at our fingertips, educating yourself on the intricacies of the mortgage market, understanding the forces at play, and keeping abreast of policy changes can empower you to make informed decisions. But knowledge alone isn't enough. It's what you do with it that counts. Engagement is the next crucial step. This crisis affects us all, whether directly or indirectly, and your voice matters. Discussing these issues with friends and family can spread awareness and foster a broader understanding of the impact of the crisis. Reaching out to policymakers through letters, emails, or public forums can influence the decisions that will shape our housing market's future. Participation in community forums and advocacy groups can amplify your voice and contribute to a collective call for change. Remember, this journey isn't one we're taking alone. The sense of community and shared purpose that has emerged in response to this crisis is a powerful reminder of what we can achieve when we come together. By staying informed, getting involved, and lending our voices to the chorus calling for change, we can turn the tide on this crisis. As we continue to navigate through these turbulent times, let's not lose sight of the role we each play in the story of American homeownership. It's through our collective efforts that we can overcome the challenges of today and build a foundation for a more stable, accessible, and equitable housing market tomorrow. Let's not just weather this storm. Let's emerge stronger, wiser, and more united on the other side. By joining our community, you're not just staying informed, you're becoming part of the solution. Until next time, keep questioning, keep learning, and never stop seeking answers. Thanks for watching, and please make sure you subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and watch this one as well.